Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Pears on a Pod. This week, we're preparing for round one. It's time to kick start. Opening round is, well, didn't feel like it started or got going, to be honest. It felt like an extended community series. But this week, we're back, Huddo, and I've got you again this week, mate. It's good to have you back.
Yeah, no, keen to get started. Round one, yeah, after whatever the hell opening round was, and obviously
Yeah.
affected by a cyclone. But yeah, I hate opening round. I feel like everyone hates opening round. Don't do it again. Just make it straightforward. None of this bye rubbish we have to worry about later in the season. Just start at round one. Carlton Richmond just roll in from there. Let everyone feel included.
Yeah, and why do they start it on a long weekend that we have to have, but the Eastern States don't? Well, Victoria had one.
Hmm.
But anyway, that doesn't matter. It's over. And but one thing we did learn from opening round is we have to play the team that was probably the worst team of the weekend in Collingwood.
Very surprising. I'm 0 from 2 in my tips, so that was a
Yep,
great
still.
start of the year. So glad I didn't buy in any kicking comps this year because I'd have just been claiming out the tax return for a charitable donation. They looked awful. Collingwood looked genuinely awful. That was absolutely bizarre. Like the Giants looked incredibly good, and this is probably you look at the opposition they played in the preseason. GWS could just cruise. Collingwood pumped the living hell out of Richmond, which I think is going to be a pretty consistent theme about this year for Richmond. But yeah, the Pies looked slow. They looked sluggish. Their forward line putrid, and I can't wait for us to play them into form this week.
Yeah, I'd sent a tweet out saying hopefully we get this Collingwood next week. But even if we got this Collingwood next week, we'd probably play worse, to be
Mm,
honest. That's normally the way we do it.
yeah, like, even last year I think we played them to form like a bit like they were absolutely rubbish, and then we started really well in that game, and then fell with absolute rubbish. So it is what it is, but they were missing Jordan De Goey, who obviously explosive, does a bit around that forward line, and then of course our man Dan Houston. He's going to make a hell of a difference coming out of defensive. Reef McInnes, and I was looking at some of the comments on some of the Collingwood pages. A lot of fans weren't happy with the experiment, with how he was, and Dan Houston's going to fill that. He's an elite kick, elite ball user. He's smart, and he provides a very good set shot from outside 50, where a lot of those half chances for Collingwood coming from against the Giants, and they just didn't look good. But yeah, the three-headed beast, the Triple M's, just looked anything but anything good.
Yeah, I didn't like how slow they were up forward, to be
Mm,
honest. And that's where the kind of our defensive structure might come into play because they're moving it slowly.
yeah,
I mean, mind you, they still had their opportunities, so it's not like they weren't attacking the scoreboard. 6-16 is a very strong Port Adelaide score. If you don't mind myself,
yeah.
but the way that they were playing, I think they weren't consistent enough in their own game plan.
Mm,
They looked very. They wanted to go quick, but then they were slow, and then they didn't know how to use the footy once they had to be slowed down. So I think it's a testament to the Giants the way they played, and it just goes to show that I think the fast ball movement and the way they carried the footy.
mm,
Looking at how we did that against the Saints,
yes.
um, if they're not applying pressure to us, I think again Collingwood could be exposed.
I think 100% that's exactly what. Like Hornet, Rosie, like they can absolutely, like if Rosie plays, that is obviously he's not an injury crowd from that trial match, but they're going to weave through. And Bedford had Dacos relatively blanketed too, so I'd be hoping Willem Drew goes to him as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, nah, I'm actually like, after watching that, I felt a bit more confident going in defensively with Finlayson and Alir down back because like Taylor was swallowing everything. He was taking the absolute piss down. But the one thing, and you did raise this point, Collingwood attacked the goals. They dominated a lot of periods of play, but when they got counted, they got counted good. And again, reading a lot of Collingwood fans and a lot of criticism this week, Darcy Moore just he doesn't look the same without Nathan Murphy.
Yeah, 100%. He looks, and I think that's where Houston will probably help out a bit more. I think a lot of people forget Dan used to take, I reckon, on average 4 or 5 intercept marks
Mm,
a game for us. If it wasn't Alir or BZT, it was Houston. So again, he'll come in, have that effect. I think the other thing that helps Collingwood going into this week, they've got 75,000 people at the MCG, probably
yeah.
fitting in instead of 5,000 at NG Stadium. So
Mm,
and then obviously the G is a massive factor, and yeah, they'd probably switch on a bit more. But I like it. I like the way I saw the internal trial for us on Friday is the way we were using it, and the scapegoat to go on that probably 75, 80 metres out on a slight angle was Jack Lukosius. And the
Yep.
way Collingwood couldn't match up with GWS was the fact that the Giants also had that outlet. Whether it was a small or a tall, it didn't matter. So by the looks of it, I think we definitely implemented a few runs of what we're going to do at the G, a lot more space as well. So um, I'm nervously excited.
Yeah, I'm always like that when we play Collingwood with the G because it's never a good time for us. And even when
No.
it was a good time for us, it was a war crime of a game. That one. We know the game we're talking about.
Yep.
Awful. But good news, Darcy Byrne-Jones, if he selected, which I expect he would be, 200 games this week. So it's a quite a remarkable career. Like, still remember his first game against, I think it was the top-up Bombers.
Yeah.
Came in, kicked his first goal with blood streaming down his face. Very much a Port Adelaide-esque image. So good on him. He's adapted to his new role quite well, and I think he'll finish his career as a small forward, pressure forward.
Looked really good in that Saints community series game. I think his career has sort of developed. It's almost coincided with the last few years of Port Adelaide. Like when we're good, he looks very, very good. When we're bad, he looks, average. Yeah, put it lightly. But his move up forward has rejuvenated his career. Plays to his strengths. Has good pressure on the ground. Is a good ball user when he's going inside 50. Knows where the goals are. And we've known that since his first game, obviously, as you said, with him bleeding all out of one eye and kicking a goal. So it's amazing that you look at it, DBJ, and I think 5 years ago, we were thinking, sitting here, he's an All-Australian halfback, and he's still like 20, 23, 24 years old. And I'm sitting here now, he's like, what, 27, 28? And I'm like, he's still a kid to me.
It's quite frightening as you sort of see that as people grow up. I still remember watching Trav's first game. Like now he's going into year season 19, I think it is. Yeah, which is just an incredible effort from him. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what we do this week. Selections. What do you think is going to change much? Do you reckon Burton comes in? Do you reckon Berry stays in? What do you think?
Yeah, Joe Barry and Joe Richards are locks for round one. I think you can.
Hope so.
They're the first two probably after Rosie and Jason Horn-Francis labelled on that ground, I reckon, because the way I think we'll look to play is, Power Pepper, Joe Richards, Joe Berry, DBJ, Willie Rioli, all up forward. The Mosquito Fleet will be pushing up Luco and Georgie. I think Ollie Lord plays as well.
Really?
Yeah, I think they really like the look of him a bit deeper, and the way he moved in the internal and even the second half of the community series game. He looks like he can play a really deep role and is very quick off the lead. So, like, it looks to me they want to push Lukosius high up. They want to have Georgiadis as if you're transitioning well, the lead up forward as too. And then Ollie Lord is that contested lead up as well. So I think he'll play. Obviously, since Finlayson will be down back. I don't know if that means someone misses out further up the ground. I don't think they're particularly looking at. I think, honestly, the sub role, if you want to label, I think the team that played against the Saints is pretty much well structured. I think the sub role's out of Jackson Mead or Trav Boak.
I think Boak. Mead, I think they're really pushing for a wing. So
yeah,
Trav would probably make more sense. Because as sad as it is, I love Trav. You do. He did look slow in that game. It looked like the game was very much catching up to him. So if he can come in when the game is probably a bit more at his pace, that probably helps. Because he can do stuff, but I do wonder how much impact he's going to be able to have this year.
I don't think it'll be as. I think he'll have his moments. There'll be games where they look to him and go. I think you even look at games like last year against the D's at the G. They said, right, Trav, go in the middle. They turned to him and he stood up in those moments. So I think he'll have that role to play. I don't mind him starting the season as a sub as well. We know how fit he is. He was only running laps on Friday night in the internal as well. So I don't think Ryan Burton will play either. He was doing the same
Okay.
on Friday night, and I think Asava was doing the same. So
Yeah, I think
um,
Asava's due back for the Richmond game, so which
yeah,
is which is good. That's probably a good game, and no disrespect to Richmond, but they are probably going to be where everyone expects them to be. It's probably a handy game to bring back in.
but does he even come in? Like if Finlayson does the job round one,
I feel like you probably have to get that match fitness into him, and that's probably the game you do it.
so Ollie Lord, if he plays round one, would probably have to come out.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not too sure, but yeah, we'll speak on Finlayson. His game against St Kilda, yeah, not bad,
A lot of people
not
took
bad.
him in the fantasy draft this week, I reckon.
Everyone would have panicked seeing he scored, going, "Oh, he's been playing that role for a while." I reckon he plays that role probably most of the year. He did it at the Giants. The only problem is, and it's been a frequent issue of his, is body language when tough, tough stuff happens. When he
Yeah,
starts getting beat, head down, does he make the efforts? When it gets down to the gritty defensive stuff, does he handle it? I actually think, having watched Collingwood's forward line, we match up well against them, unless they do bring in Mason Cox this week. Then that's a bit of a tall problem. But Bergman can play tall. Like Lockie Jones
yeah.
can definitely play tall. Like we've got a bit of a chaotic defense, but it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Like I look forward to seeing how Finlayson works, but he is a elite ball user out of defense, and Ken likes that.
It also opens up that role that Miles Bergman loves to play, and
Yes.
I think with the Meyer check, Membry, McStay structure,
Mm.
I think it suits us perfectly. Because
Memory loves kicking goals against us.
yeah, yeah, I
He
know.
does love kicking goals against us. I think Memory.
I reckon who would be the matchup? So you'd go a Lear against McStay. I think that's the tall matchup you do. You'd probably look to play a Bergman on Membry because I reckon he can play off him really well.
Mm.
Um, Myercheck's the interesting one. We've had someone like Ryan Burton play on him in the past. I think a Lockie Jones wouldn't be too bad of a matchup
Mm.
for him body wise. And again, if we want to be that quick transition team that we've looked all preseason to do,
Yeah.
Lockie Jones peeling off of a Myercheck as well is a pretty good setup.
I do say the team that we stat loves kicking goals against us. We are the club that he's kicked the second least goals against. So how's that to shoot down your own stat? Um, and he's only beaten us once at 10 attempts, but obviously we like to beat the Saints for fun. So, um, yeah, yeah, Finlayson's role should be good, I reckon. We'll look at the forward line as well, and like we spoke about that briefly. Luco looks fun. we actually
he looks
we have
very
a
fun.
leading forward who can kick a long way, and I think we said this a fortnight ago. Schultz-esque in terms of how he would move, how he can kick, and all that sort of stuff. Richards looks unreal, and I'm obviously mindful of what we have given up to bring him and Barry into the club, but the commentary around this will help, sort of thing. I don't mind it because I understand that we've lost an All Australian halfback, but we do have plenty of halfbacks coming through. We've got Sin, we've got Berg, we've got Farrell, we've got halfbacks out of our backside, but we don't have someone that's quite Joe Richards, and we didn't have the draft cattle quite like someone for a Joe Berry. So pretty happy with how that's turned.
I think I put out a tweet on Friday, and where I was sitting at Alberton, you could see like it's from about 45 meters out to about the 80-meter mark in our forward half. If you see Joe Berry inside of that, he's going to destroy you. His 15, 20-meter touches were elite. The way him and Joe Richards work up the ground and are able to
Mm,
work back is something that's not really been a focal point for us, and
no.
it's what's helped our transition be quicker. I mean, if we utilize the ball the way we did against the Saints, and that's the blueprint. Obviously, clean up I mean, you can make mistakes in a community series game, but if you are moving the ball that way, fast ball movement. Georgiadis is licking his lips. Lukosius is licking his
Mm.
lips. Pal Pepper looked. His pressure's been valuable and has
Send me a
been
move and see how
missed.
different it looks.
Oh, it's going. I think if you're worried about a Collingwood result, I wouldn't be expecting if we get pumped this week. I'd be very, very surprised because
Okay.
the way our pressure is, um, I, I don't see us getting pumped. I think we'd, if you look at how Collingwood respond, it's probably the more focal point. But for us, we're just rocking out round one. Our round one stats under Ken Hinkley, I think we've only lost 2 round 1 games in 12 years.
And we've missed finals both times, I think.
2022, and I think it was 2015.
Against Freo. Yep.
Yeah, so we've missed
Did I
finals
made a
both
late,
times.
late error. I remember that very well.
Yes, Trav Boat kicked the goal from outside of Domain Stadium that day.
All right, before we get a bit special and sidetrack, Connor Rosie, how did he look coming off? Because I wasn't there, I was on the way home. How how did he look coming off? Because obviously a lot of people saying he's fine, a lot of people saying he's not. What do you think?
Um, I think if he doesn't play this week, something's gone horribly wrong in the last 7 days
Okay.
because it's effectively he was holding the ankle. There was a lot of pain. I thought he rolled his ankle, got caught underneath Jason Horne-Francis' tackle, which wasn't really a tackle. I think he just stubbed his toe, is what the club said. The way I feel confident is you wouldn't be carrying on the way you did if you were badly injured if you're sitting on the top deck at Alberton in Burks. Like you wouldn't be sitting there going laughing with Zach Butters, who's sitting next to you, talking to a couple of the assistants, walking around freely. He got off, got injured, took the boot off, showered, and was in Burks within 10 minutes. So if you're going against what the club says, then I don't think you either didn't see it or you've been seeing too many people mistreat rumours that came out of some certain Supercoach pages.
Ah, yes, of course, always. It's always the fantasy coaches that start to get paranoid around this time of year.
Yep.
So you want to do a bit of a season preview?
Yep.
We start with the first 5 games of what's coming up because we've got a relatively across the year got a hard fixture, but first 5 games not bad.
I think if we're the way I look at it, the first month, if you're going 3-1 into that gather round game, I have a lot of confidence in us for the remaining because even after the first 5, it's not too bad in terms of our
Mm.
fixture. So I think a round 1 win would set us up massively confidence wise.
Round one win puts us 4-0 going together.
100%.
I think because Richmond we should beat with our eyes closed. Essendon is that Marvel. Marvel's like home away from home, and for some reason our record there is just incredible. St Kilda aren't going to do much this year, I don't think. And then we go into Hawthorn. But yeah, this game this week is a huge test. We don't get many opportunities at the G. We got to make the most. We're there.
The first 5 games, you go happy with anything, even 3-2, I'd take.
Nah, if we're 3-2, we're not. We're middle of the road doing nothing.
All right. Then again, we were 1-3 the other year and ended up winning 13 in a row, and you know.
Yeah, but then we bombed out in straight sets.
Honestly, I think 4-1 is realistic and is achievable. And whether that one loss is Collingwood or Collingwood or Hawthorn,
Hawthorn.
um, if we're 5-0,
Mm.
I'm happy.
Obviously, but
um,
yeah,
but yeah, I think it sets us up pretty well. I think it's hard when you go into round 1 because you just don't know what to expect. You've seen a Collingwood outfit that has been so hyped in terms of what they're going to bring this year. They fell flatter than than a blow up pool. So yeah, like you get this one, you win the next 3 after that. You go 4-0 into Hawthorn. I'm taking 4-1. Take 5-0. Anything below, as you said, middle of the road.
imagine the AFL licking their lips going into that. That's a top of the table clash. The
On a
revenge of the
Sunday
night
night.
on a Sunday night.
There's a lot of people calling it sick on Monday.
Oh yeah, there would be. Pete, make a Monday a public holiday, please and thank you.
I think he'd do it in a heartbeat, to be honest.
Probably would.
And he'd be himself. He'd be the first one to take the day off.
Being a big port man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's look at the rest of the year, eh?
Let's look at it. So this year is obviously a year with Josh Carr. as
Lingering,
it
yep.
lingering. Ken Hinkley's final farewell, as I described it, as his last dance, which got a lot of heat. Um,
Yeah, well.
but it's one of those things where you look at it and go, what can we achieve? And what's your feeling? What's your gut feel right now?
Top four finish.
Yeah,
Top
same.
top four finish has to be it. Because obviously, like look at the situation that we're in. Obviously, Ken's leaving the role, which, as I said a fortnight ago, hasn't really achieved a lot to earn that right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the pressure's on him to actually not want that record of most games coached without a grand final appearance. He's going to have that record
Yeah.
unless we make it.
Or goes to Tassie.
Yeah, well, he's going to be waiting a while for that. It's got to be a minimum grand final appearances
I don't think
past
the
that.
expectation changes from what it was
No,
last year or the year
not at
before.
all. Not because of there's a transition in coach. No.
You've got everything you wanted. You've done everything you need. Like we've given away a dual Australian halfback flank,
Mm,
sold the farm again, lost a draft pick to start the year next year.
yeah.
Like at the end of the day, you can all paint this all kind of rosy and think it's all pretty and lovely, but at the end of the day, you're in a position where you have to do something with this football club. Otherwise, if you so-called legacy that you're leaving wants to be good, it's going to be tainted if we're finishing 10th or 11th this year.
Yeah, I don't buy into the fact we're missing finals. I just don't. We've always been a good home and away team. And I think like the last time we missed was we got ravaged by injuries to start the season, absolutely smashed. And then the one before that, we reset the list. Like we
Yep.
traded out Wingard, we traded out Polder, we traded out Pittard, and that was the first season of Butters, Rosie, and Dersma, and even Willem Drew. And then we won the minor premiership the year after.
Yeah.
Right?
Sold the farm for that and ended the year with Ben Brown kicking 10.
Yeah, we are we are a we are a top four side. I firmly believe that. I just hope we actually prove it, and then when it comes to September, we back that up. So every year the Port Adelaide Club plays, the minimum expectation should be win the premiership. I don't give a shit about. It's a new era. We're in the AFL. It's not the Sam. It's not that easy anymore. I could not give a shit. Port Adelaide, you aim to win the flag every year. So that's my minimum expectation. I feel like we're finishing top four at the end of the home and away season, and I hope we do it well.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's so many external expectations for us to finish below anything
Mm.
that's in the top eight. So
I saw some people putting us below bloody. So I think someone put us below St Kilda or even Essendon. It's like
I saw a 14th place in there, and
that is just outrageous.
I thought that's just general hatred at this point. So if you think that, hey, we could be wrong.
Yeah, we could be absolutely wrong. We finished 14th, and all hell blows up, and
That'll
good
be a good
lord, it's a
time.
bad year.
That'll
But
be a great
I
time.
can't see that happening.
Not with the dynamic we have and the changes we've made. And every time we make these sorts of changes, they benefit us a lot more than first thought. So
If we're 14th, hello to the comments in September. Hello.
I'm used to you.
Mm.
Yeah. Give us a best and fairest or an MVP for 2025. Obviously, we're both going top four finishes. So who's going to be the best?
Best and fairest and the top three in the Brownlow finishes, Jason Francis.
Yeah, I like that. I'm probably the same. I think
That's
he's
conservative because I honestly think the Hornets winning it. Shit.
the well, he's got an advantage like no one else. Like
He's going
he's
to be
got
catching
someone
Will
playing.
Day and Finn Callahan now.
Well, that and also the fact that he's got Miles Bergman down back who can also get votes. So,
Yeah, that does also help.
but no, I think he's set for the year. We've had a year of Butters, here, year of Rosie. It's now the year of Horn Francis, and
Yeah.
he will probably, yeah, as you said, top three Brownlow. I think he's also got 35, 40 goals in him this year.
Yeah, which is frightening.
He averages
He's
2 goals a
so
game.
damaged.
Um, so I'm with you on the best and fairest as well for Jason Horn Francis. Give us a leading goal kicker. What do you reckon? Who's kicking out goals this year?
The obvious is Luco. Him, him or Georgie. I'll go Lucasius. I think further out he's got more danger in his legs. But I'm actually excited for our forward line for the first time in a long time. That's
We
no
haven't had
disrespect to
a.
Charlie Dixon, but this, ball movement going in, even if it is a spilled stoppage, we've got a swarm that's going to
Mhm.
hit. When and we haven't got Narkle and Evans and McEntee swooping on it. We got Powell, Pepper, Berry, and Richards swooping on that shit, and
Don't forget Willie.
Rioli and Rioli.
It's
Yeah,
going to be.
forward line's exciting.
Yeah, I like that. And we haven't, as I said to you a couple of times off air, we haven't had a player kick over 50 goals in I think in about 10 years. So that was
Oh wow!
Wingard.
Oh geez, what 15?
Yeah, I think the closest we got was Dixon
I mean,
in
it's 17.
2020 as well as 2017. I think they kicked. I think Robbie also topped in 2017 with 49 or 48, but
Mm,
Dixon in 2020 as well had like 45, I think. So, and that was in a shortened year. So we haven't had a player kick 50 goals in a while, and I'm predicting that whilst the big guys will do well,
mm.
Willie Rioli is going to be our leading goal kicker this year.
Right. Okay.
I like the way you describe like the spillage. There's going to be a lot of. We'll still have contests. We'll still
Oh
have,
yeah.
and the way he was in and around set plays and stuff in the internal, and then obviously he kicked 3.5 goals against the Saints at Moorabbin. So,
The piss.
and
Took
they took him
absolute
off.
piss. Yeah.
So yeah, I think he'll be our leading goal kicker this year, and definitely a smoky for All Australian as well.
Oh, don't like that. Don't mind that. Big call. Big call. Big call.
Yeah. So, I'm just keen. Just get it started. I'm sick of this talk.
Yeah, let's get this show on the road.
Just
Bleep that
kickstart
out.
it. It's all right. I don't have a bleep button.
Oh, just use the siren again.
Yeah. It's only animated. They'll be fine.
Mm.
Cody Rhodes swore on a PG show. So, well, we've pretty much wrapped up another episode. We're going into round one, Huddo. I
Mm.
guess we should do a tip for this week.
Uh, Port 3 goals.
Or 3 goals.
I'm
Yeah,
going to
put
tip us
by.
every week because it's a poor podcast. It'd be stupid not to.
I mean, I've had people tip against us, tip not
Yeah,
for us. So,
mm.
Port by 11.
Points, I hope.
11 goals. It's a Port podcast. It's going to be as biased as hell.
You're an idiot.
Well, that's it. That's another episode of Pears On A Pod. Huddo, it's been a great pleasure. Make sure you, everyone jump on the socials, Beyond Alberton, get your applications in as well. We'll be definitely promoting that again this week. I can't wait. It's round one, baby. We're back.
Finally here. Finally here. We will see you again very soon. We'll definitely see you next week rather than the fortnight break we decided to take. And we'll see you next week.
Subscribe for more. Cheers, everyone. Count the bear.